Hello! Tomorrow I leave on a trip to New Orleans with some friends. I curled my hair and looks like this side completely went flat, so that's cool. But yeah, let's I'll get to packing and maybe I'll show you what's going on. Alright, let's go. So fancy.
No. Well, that's actually that's really heavy to lift.
Oh god, yeah. Those stairs are brutal. Whoa. Come on.
I like jams.
Oh. Yeah, so you have some light. Oh, cute! This is like the maid's corner.
I'm a little maid. I love it.
Yeah, oh, I like the little chair. The balcony, like, makes it all.
Right?
Little
It's
flame.
so cool.
Yeah. Whoa. Miss Muscles over here. There's a little clawfoot tub too. This is a very pink room.
I know.
Dang, you got the clothing racks. Oh my god.
And it's like a kitchen.
Yeah. Got your party sunglasses on?
They don't even do anything.
No, that's a chandelier. Oh my goodness. Who do you think that guy is?
Yeah, here's the. This champagne? No, that's Megan. No. I had brought 3, but either way, like.
Oh god. I wonder who chose all the art pieces for this place.
It's very random.
Yeah. Oh, and there's another little bathroom right here.
You're at the very tippy top.
Yeah. It's gonna be fun. You're fucked up.
That room looks haunted.
It totally is haunted. The light in the bathroom was flickering. I was like, I just unscrewed it.
Ooh.
Oh, there's one thing right here. Oh, wow, man. Forever. Take some.
Oh, it's a video.
Oh, that's embarrassing.
No, it wasn't. It was cute.
We know where we are.
That's what happens, right? There's a whole little quad here. I like this new European.
Oh, good.
Really pretty. Crumbs and you're banging me.
Tasty. Jim Morrison. Hi. Hi. Hi guys. Cheers. No pressure. Sophie. Hi.
I should
I don't think I've even been in the video.
Alright, how's everybody doing this afternoon? My name's Jeff Barry. I'm the young guy this afternoon. Trying to get in sunlight.
That's so cool. I'm so
Mostly when we get on the side of the boat, you'll see a bunch of bumps and ridges on it. Those are called scoops. Every blood vessel. Enclosed every night when the sun goes down. Insects are used up like a house or a shelter overnight. And that site has got to remain in an exact position. The female lays it in. On the top side of the egg, there's actually a
That's so sick.
one on the right.
Yeah.
This one in the back is only about 6.5 foot long. The bigger one on the left is actually about 8 foot long. Males can grow up to 20 foot. They can live for up to 100 years. So, in the wild.
Are they gonna kiss?
Just a little gator kiss.
Oh!
Pictures of these guys. Highline Fisheries last survey that I've seen locally here, there's about 40 alligators per square mile in the marsh environment. They can get a pretty accurate count in the marsh because it's mainly flooded grassland, right? So they use things like drones. And everybody always asks the difference between an alligator and a crocodile. Crocodiles cannot take freezing temperatures. If we left one loose right here today, it would survive up until the first freeze when these alligators go in that formation phase. Crocodiles are not capable of doing that, so it would die. That's why if you look on a map, everywhere they live, they're closer to the equator. So it does not freeze.
Bye, friend.
It's just a very soft, lush bottom out here. So you'll look on the front.
That's how I like my bottoms.
See this plant in the water with red seeds on it. That's actually all wild rice. Some of y'all have eaten Cajun food. palm grass at the bottom of those trees. That is the true moss plant. So, watch a show interview with a vampire. Than ours, they actually know what they're eating by touching it. So, come on, you come and go
It's so cute.
Oh, he's coming over here.
Yeah. Hi, buddy.
Y'all see any on the left?
Yeah.
They're dormant. Oh man, Sarah.
Oh my God. He's coming up here. Can he come on here? Can we take him home?
Can we all get rabies?
Well, I'm just saying, like, if he does, it might have.
Oh, it's so cute.
What is he looking for? He just wants a little snack. He's washing his hands.
Not swamp water.
Oh my God.
Wow, he does not care about us at all.
Ballsy.
Yeah.
When they're not going through your garden.
Aww.
Oh, he looks scared. Oh! Oh, there's how Cinderella.
Are you kidding me?
Oh,
You know exactly what you're
Aww. Hi, Mama. There's one. Oh, sorry. I should probably sit down.
She did it.
We got a new one.
Swimming over there. They swim really good.
Aww.
Do the alligators eat them?
They will.
Okay.
Well, that's sad.
We don't want that.
No, that should have happened.
Aww, that's very
Back
cute.
here, say a
Go
prayer
away
back
from
there.
here,
There's alligators out here, and they're not dumb animals, right? Like the ones we see in our neighborhood. Yeah, everything they eat out here is almost raw fruit. So everything they eat. Y'all see the tusk in her mouth?
Yeah.
Everybody
Holy
see
crap.
them? It's a female pig. Their tusks do not get big like a male does. Male's tusk will get 5 or 6 inches long. Females only about 1.5 inches to 2 inches like hers.
So is she?
So.
She's not a hog though, or is that
It
the same
is.
thing?
Hogs, pigs are the same thing. People think they're all boars. No, you got sows and boars. She's a female, so she's a sow.
Oh.
Come on, can you get up here?
Oh my goodness. I love her hairy little ears.
I'll see if I can get her to come around on this other side of the boat.
Starting off, we left at 5 a.m. from Tulsa, get to our Airbnb and kind of look around the whole place. After we like settled in and stuff, went to dinner at this place. I can't remember what it's called, but it was very good. I got a gumbo. We had to sit at 2 different tables, so our table got served first, even though our first table got sat down first. Like, we were completely done eating and they hadn't even got their food out yet. It was very strange. Went on a tour, this ghost voodoo tour. Learned some neat stuff about voodoo. Madame Levine. She's interesting. Her one friend was already pretty drunk. I think she had 2 hurricanes at dinner. And at one point, because the sidewalks are narrow, there's probably like 20 of us in this group. Our tour guide was standing in the, like a little bit into the street, and then the rest of us were up on the sidewalks. And Deidre goes, "Look out, you're gonna get hit." And we all looked, and it was a horse and carriage, like down the street. So it was like coming at like 2 miles an hour. It was very funny. Our tour guide just kind of ignored it, but it was very funny. And then after we went on the voodoo tour, then we went straight down to Bourbon Street, and very dirty. The streets are just so gross and stinky. So it's like stinky garbage. So many trash cans, and all of them were overflowing with garbage. Not my favorite part of New Orleans, but it was cool. I mean, it definitely reminded me of Vegas. I see why people kind of say that. Went into this bar called The Dungeon, which is kind of neat. You like go through like an alleyway, and then you go into this tiny little bar, and then it has like this upstairs part, and you're not allowed to film or anything in there. And we went up to this upstairs part. The size of this bar is like the size of like a small living room, and then it has like a bar area. There's like a row of seats on one side and a row of seats on the other side. You first walk in, you just see this couple that are like making out, sitting on the seats that are on the one side. And I'm like, oh, this is a little weird. You know, just try to ignore it, even though it's like right there in the tiny room. that you're in. And then this girl came up to our group, and she didn't say this to me, but the girl came up to our group and was talking to a couple of my friends and said that the girl who's making out with the guy was married and that was not her husband. So that was a little bit like, oh, okay. At one point, the girl's just like standing close by them, like texting on her phone or something, and then the girl that was making out with the guy, or like making out with them like 2 feet away, I was like, oh my god, I could not imagine being in that situation. Not good. And we left that bar. We weren't there for very long. And then at that point, I was really tired. I honestly probably wanted to go back earlier, but I was like forced myself to stay up. I didn't want to be the first one to go back. And then Lindsay wanted to go back, so I was like, okay, I'll go back with her. So we went back, and then I had fallen asleep, and I kind of heard like people coming into the house. So I was kind of in and out of sleep because I could kind of hear voices and stuff. Not ghost voices, but you know, the rest of my friends. And then Sophie comes into the room because we were sharing a bed. She's like, can I tell you what happened? I was like, yeah. And she's like, Michelle got punched in the head by some crackhead. I'm like, what? And so she'd repeat it again. I'm like, is she okay? And she was like, yeah, she's okay. Then the next day I asked Michelle, I'm like, so what happened? And she said some lady came up to her really close, was like, if you don't give me $1, you're gonna die. And Michelle responded, okay. And the lady, I guess, bopped her on the head like that. And this is the reenactment because I wasn't there, but was like a kangaroo hopping around, and everyone was just like stunned, like, what? That just happened? And I guess she just like ran off into the night. And that's what happened. Then we went on a tour to the cemetery where the Madame Levine burial place, cemetery things. So we went there, we had a tour set up for 2:30, and then we got there, and there's like an entrance to the cemetery, and there's a guard, and so we were waiting to talk to the guard. There's some people in front of us asking a question, waited, and then finally we're like, where do we meet for our tour? And then he was like, you see that down there? That's your tour. And he's like, and we're like, oh. And he's like, and they're coming this way, and that's bad. And we're like, thought it was a joke. We're like, oh, haha. And he's like, no, really, that sucks. And we're like, what? And he's like, you need to go into that building down there and check in, and then they'll have to do something, blah, blah, blah. So we started our tour, and we walk into the cemetery. And like she was talking, and like our group was probably like 25 people. You could not hear her. Like, and one of the girls in our group was like, I really couldn't hear anything that you said. Can you talk louder? And she just ignored her. Like, okay. And then we get in the cemetery, and she like talks out the first like grave that we're at, and then she turns, and you know, we're all kind of crowding around. There's not like areas where you're like sitting or that you're supposed to stand. She turns, and then she wants to talk about the wall of plaques or whatever it was right there. My friend Alexis, she was like, you need to move out of the way. People want to see this. And it's like, you didn't even say this is what we're going to talk about next. You just turned, and then that's immediately what you said, lady? Like, okay. And then we're going, and she's like, you guys need to pick up the pace. We're already running low on time. We're going to have to skip some stuff. And it's like, we're going at the pace that you're going at, you know? Like, you're setting the pace, lady, and I don't know how you're expecting, you know, 25 people in a little narrow, like, walkways to go quickly. She also, like, selectively gave out cards to give her a good review on to people. Like, she didn't give them out to everyone. We went to get some sandwiches. I had a po' boy sandwich. The place was good, but I started eating it, and then I like looked, and they weren't deveined. and they were fried. So then I tried to like devein them myself, but then it was like I couldn't get all of it out, and it was just kind of killed it for me, so I couldn't eat very much of the sandwich, so that was a little bit of a bummer. Later that night, we met up at this bar. It was kind of a cool place. I had like a pool table, and we were the only people in there. Then we left and we went to Santiago's, I think. They had a really cool Lemmy portrait in the middle of the bar. Then we went back to Berman Street to another place where they're playing a lot of like Latin music, and it was actually really fun. I was dancing all goofy, we're all being real silly and stuff, and it was a pretty good time. So we had to take 2 different Ubers. I see on Miranda's phone that it was supposed to be a black Expedition, and so we're waiting, and then they're like, a white car stops in front of us, and someone was like, oh, this is it. I'm like, because I'm fairly sober. I didn't really drink that much. Someone said like, for Miranda, and like, they're like, yeah, okay. So we piled in, which my second indication that this was not the right vehicle. Like at first I was like, shouldn't we check the numbers? And I was like, nah, it's okay, let's go. Like, okay. And then my second indication that this was probably not the right vehicle is that we had one in the front seat, and then there's 4 of us in the back seat that's supposed to only have 3 people. So we're a little squished. But I was like, oh, whatever, I guess, you know, they said start at 1, start at 1. And we're driving, the guy's chit-chatting. Then we stop, and we're just waiting, and then he says, are y'all coming home with me? And at first I think we all thought it was like a joke. We're like, what? And then he's like, this is your stop. And then we're like, no. And he's like, yes. And then he was like, for Sabrina? And we're like, no, Miranda. And then he was like, oh no, this is bad. And we're like, we're sorry. And he's like, at first he's like, I feel bad for Sabrina. We're going. And then he's like, this is really bad. And we're like, we'll make it right, we'll pay you. And then he's like, I don't want your fucking money. And we're like, okay, well, what do you, like, what, why? And then he was like, if I got into an accident, you all would sue me. And we're like, no, we wouldn't. And then he's like, if I got in an accident and you all died, your family would sue my family. And we're like, we're sorry. Then we're like, just let us out then. And then he says, if you think I'm gonna let 5 females out here on the streets in New Orleans at whatever time it was, like 2 o'clock in the morning, to get robbed, blah, 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 I'm not gonna be held responsible for that. We're like, well, what do you want then? And then he was like, well, just give me the address. So then he was like, oh, then he finally like drove us there, but after like giving us a hard time. And at first we're driving by and we're like, the number went down. Then he was like, let me drive back around, and drive back around, and we're like, oh yeah, that's it actually. So we had passed by the house. We're all kind of chilling. I was like getting really tired, so then I decided that I was gonna go upstairs to go to bed. And I went upstairs, and then Sierra's like, who goes there? And I was like, hit me. And she's like, can you help me with my bathing suit top? So I was helping her latch her bathing suit top. Like right when I got it, like the power goes out. We're like, what the hell? So we're like checking, like, and it looked like the surrounding areas were out as well. And at first I was like staying up for a minute, and I was like, I don't need to stay up. I was gonna go to bed either way. So then I went to bed. And I guess the power didn't even come back on until like 6 a.m. Next day, this was Tuesday, we got up and we left at 11 to go on a swamp tour that was like about an hour's drive away. And that was really cool. That was definitely one of the highlights to me. Being on the boat and seeing all the gators, and there's swamp raccoons and a swamp pig named Kevin. After we left there, we went and got food. We had a crawfish boil. I had spent so much more money than I thought I would at on a dish of food for myself, but I ate almost all of it. I was pretty proud of myself. The next day we left at 6 a.m. So had to be up at like 5, and Michelle was a trooper and drove us all the way back home. So yeah, that was our trip. I don't know how interesting this video is, but yeah, okay, bye.